recently just did my Ancestry, and it came back, and I'm like 96% African. And I asked one of my African friends.
Oh my gosh.
That is actually impressive.
I'm like, so can I say that I'm African?
Yes, 96%.
Wait, no, all African.
Talk cleverly on the beat.
Hey beautiful people, welcome back to IamCocoAdventures. In this video we are diving deep into diaspora experience. The laughs, the pain, the pride and the unspoken tension. Let's talk, feel and grow together.
So I recently just did my Ancestry, and it came back, and I'm like 96% African. And I asked one of my African friends.
Oh my gosh.
That is actually impressive.
I'm like, so can I say that I'm African?
Yes, 96%.
Wait, no, all African Americans can say African.
No. You know what?
Yo,
some
that is an
Africans
A+.
are also probably 96.
That's an A+.
It is. We got cousins that ain't even 90 nothing.
There you go.
99 plus.
Yeah,
They in the 70s?
No, they ain't even in the 70s. They about
That's
54.
beautiful.
Stop.
That's impressive. Congratulations. I still have to make this test. I'm sure I'm 97% African. These days, just having dark skin isn't enough. People want to know exactly how African they are. DNA ancestry tests can show where your ancestors come from and what percentage of your DNA links back to different regions, including Africa. Popular services like 23andMe, Ancestry DNA, or MyHeritage offer these tests. You just send in a saliva sample. Prices usually range from $59 to $120, depending on the company and if there's a discount running. What do you think? Where I'm from in Africa. And did you already do this test? Let me know in the comments. I'm very curious about it.
You cannot be unblacked. You are black because as you navigate the world, you're going to be having a black experience. It doesn't matter how you are raised. It does not matter how black folks treated you. It does not matter how white people treated you. As you navigate the world, you will always be having a black experience. And therefore, you are a black person.
As long as you are black, no matter in which side of the world you are treated as black. So what is the black experience about? It's not the same everywhere. It changes with your passport, your accent, your history. And that's what we need to talk about.
What we need, we as in like different parts of the diaspora, right? Like we really need to work on extending this like extreme level of grace to one another, because we are both, not even both, but like all parts of the diaspora are working through their own experiences with imperialism or colonization. And, you know, it's not just one group who has a lot of work to do, you know, like we all have our own work to do. We're all kind of like scarred in our own way. And so this like first step would really be radical grace. And I feel like, you know, we all could do that. We all could extend more grace. Black Americans can extend more grace. Different people from different parts of the diaspora on the continent can extend more grace, from the diaspora from South America, the Caribbean, beyond. Like, I think radical grace is like a good first step.
Yes, we really do need radical grace. This diaspora war is exhausting. And we forget we are all healing from different kind of wounds. Radical grace means choosing empathy over ego. And in this diaspora war, it's revolutionary.
So the diaspora wars are interesting, right? Because you hear African versus African American. Caribbean people don't claim us. We built the culture. Y'all just came here. Y'all lost y'all roots. We never did. But beneath all that, it's not about ego really. It's about wounds, displacement, and grief over interrupted belonging. The core truth is that we're all human, but black culture is distinct. That's not a contradiction. It's a revelation. We're all human. Okay, we all share a divine origin. Yes, we can get as deep as possible. But black culture, especially in the U.S., was forged, not inherited, right? It didn't come from an uninterrupted lineage. It came from rupture, from deletion, from being renamed and recoded and remade under fire. So black culture feels distinct because of a few reasons. We just gonna eat through them. It's really a post-apocalyptic culture, born from genocide, displacement, rebranding. Black culture has had to build rhythm from screams, harmony from hauntings, and it's the sound of making life without a map. It became self-aware inside survival. It's a compression culture. All the wisdom of the ancestors compressed into blues, into slang, into body movement. It's spiritual memory without documentation. When you take away drums, names, gods, and language, what's left? Invention, pattern, soul, and code, right? And it's also an exile culture. Other cultures remember where they came from, but black Americans are the ones who had to ask, if I don't know where home is, can I build one in my own throat? Right? That's what gospel is. That's what hip hop is. That's what the cookout is. Black culture is not better. It's scarred and stitched. It remembers by dreaming. And the diaspora wars happen because everyone's holding lost differently. Some lost land, some lost language, some lost names, some lost connection. I mean, we could talk about all the disconnections. But black Americans often feel abandoned, unclaimed, and resented for their cultural influence, but not their pain. Continental Africans or Caribbean people, right? They may feel misrepresented, stereotyped, frustrated by American cultural dominance, but the problem really is indifference. It's unspoken grief. We don't need to agree on who suffered more. I'm not even willing to have this conversation. We need to metabolize what was taken from all of us. Right? We need to process that. Because all black people, right, no matter the passport, and I'm saying that, are still dealing with the theft of wholeness. All of us. All of us are dealing with a theft of wholeness. Okay, if you can't find nothing else to agree on, that is the truth. So black culture is distinct and still human. It's distinct because it had to rebuild itself without any memory. Because it's human. And it's human because it never stopped trying to connect even through pain. So you know, this is why I always get back down to the question, you know, about what we have to do as black people versus the situation what they have to do. Both of us are dealing with the same ailment. But we had to become a blacksmith, the builder, right? We had to construct things in the midst of the impossible. Really a post-apocalyptic culture, right? Which is why we depict it so much in media, right? It really is influential. But hopefully, you know, this gave some people some insight.
That was a good explanation. Some people say that those from the Caribbean carry a deeper pain in their lineage. Is that true? Could that be one of the roots of these diaspora wars? Unspoken grief, generational trauma. The silence between us might be louder than we think. But maybe the first step to healing is listening with empathy, not ego. We don't need to agree on everything, but we need to stop fighting each other while carrying the same wound.
So this comment was left on my Aish Fino recipe video, and it reminded me of a conversation I had with an Egyptian lady. So a quick story time. So we live in a college town with a lot of international students and people who come work at the university and then leave after a couple of months. And in my mosque, in my community, I'm part of like this women's group, and sometimes we take in people who are looking for, temporary housing. So sometimes we have Egyptian women or Muslim women in general as guests in our house. And I was having this conversation with this girl who came straight from Egypt. She's never been outside of Egypt. And she was asking me about my life and about my son and all that. And when I told her that we teach our son Arabic and Punjabi because his dad is Indian and I'm Egyptian, he was so confused about that. She kept asking me, like, why would you confuse him with all these languages? He is American at the end of the day. And I tried to explain to her that our identity and our culture in diaspora is really important to us. And she just didn't get it. She would not understand. And I get that people who live back home just, you know, the culture is part of life. Like, they don't really think about it that much. It's just there, right? Which is normal. And it's not her fault, obviously. But I realized that a lot of people back home don't understand how people live in the diaspora and how they function and how they struggle and what identity and culture and language and all that means to them. And even things like bread, like fino or aish baladi. Because we live far away from our countries of origin, and because we live in a society that constantly reminds us that we are a minority, that we don't really belong here, and that, you know, where are you really from, or go back where you came from. We create, in the places we live in where we are a minority, we create spaces so that we can belong. We create like learning groups and events and, you know, fundraising and all these kind of things to not lose touch with our roots, to have something to call home fil ghurba. So aish fino might just be a bread to you that is not great and you like Europe so much better and they know how to do everything better. But to us, it is sentimental. Smells and taste and food and music. It's not just that, it is emotional. It is a part of us that reminds us that we belong. It reminds us of a lineage of a people that have been through so much and are still here. That's why you'll find diaspora Egyptians or diaspora in general from other ethnicities who, even though they don't speak their mother tongue, they feel a very deep connection to their home country, or they have this longing at some point in their lives to know where they are from. I know it's hard to understand, but it's not just bread.
We create spaces so we can belong, so we don't lose touch with who we are and where we come from. That connection to our roots, to our homelands, runs deep, even if we are far away. The longing is real. That's why we build communities, held on language, food, music, culture. We might be scattered, but we are not broken. So instead of division, let's choose unity across borders, accents, and histories.
Tasha, the melanin queen, Miss Melanin in all perfection. Bless up yourself and give thanks. I'm just highlighting this comment because I said the same thing in response to the same comment a while ago. And so I want people to just know, yeah, that it's not just Shakara saying this, yeah. There is no place that you feel more home than when you go back home. And that is Africa and the Caribbean, alright? So yes, you say, I mean, I fabricate the thing, yeah. Many of us feel and experience this energy and this vibration. But as I said, yeah, even if brothers and sisters back home never embrace it, it not means that it's not home. It just is what it is. But the fact is that they do. You know what I'm saying? The overwhelming majority of people do. Bless yourself, Melanin Queen Tasha. Yes, I bless.
There's no place where you feel more home than when you go back home to Africa or the Caribbean. Yes, give thanks. So what could help us to overcome these struggles of the diaspora when we are not home?
African Americans adopted Christianity, but I also think they adapted Christianity. They made it their own. They created it so that it could provide for them something that was nurturing, something that provided catharsis, something that provided hope.
Wherever African peoples find themselves in the diaspora, they're bringing with them ways of knowing, frames of reference, cognitive schemes to make sense of the world.
It's a mistake to think that enslaved Africans came to North America tabula rasa. That is to say that they came with nothing. That is not the case. That they came bearing a rich cultural heritage, and this cultural world got filtered through black churches.
That's true. Religion gave enslaved people hope, strength, and a sense of dignity when everything else was stripped away. It was a tool for survival, a way to hold on to something bigger than the chains. Over time, it was adapted, reinterpreted, and made our own. That's how you get spirituals, gospel, Afro-Caribbean religions like Santeria or Voodoo, all born from resistance, not just beliefs. So yes, we adopted it, but we also transformed it into something deeply rooted in our identity. If that could be a next topic for our reaction series, please let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. That would be amazing.
Easy.